Running a sub 25k, it's not magic, it's not genetics, and it's definitely not just reserved for faster runners. It's pretty much a problem solving exercise. And most runners, they're solving the wrong problems. They train harder, they push more intervals, and in worst case scenario, they buy new shoes, and the time still doesn't drop. I'm Russ, 16-minute 5k and 2:42 marathon runner. It was pretty clear from the comments on my how to run a sub 20-minute 5k video that most people didn't really and still don't understand what they're doing wrong. So I'm going to walk you through the exact mistakes that are stopping you from breaking 20 minutes, how to fix them, and what training actually gets you over the line. If you avoid these mistakes, I genuinely believe that any committed runner can run sub 20. After all, I did, haven't spent a year chasing it. Don't waste a year like I did, so let's get into it. Mistake number one, your threshold pace is too slow. Now, this is the big one. If your lactate threshold, which is your comfortably hard pace, if that's too slow, you're just not going to have that aerobic engine to sustain sub 20 pace. Now, that's the point where you can't clear lactate quicker than you're making it. And once too much of that accumulates in your body, it will slow you down. So if your threshold is slower than about 4:10, 4:15 a kilometer, that's about 6:45 a mile, you're not going to be running sub 20. Not yet. That threshold, that really is the gatekeeper for you going sub 20. So how do you know if you're, let's call it aerobically underdeveloped? Well, there's probably 4 key points that I can point to. The first one would be that every 5k that you've done, you've ended up hanging on for dear life. Another one is that your heart rate spikes, especially in that first kilometer. Another one would be that your tempo runs, they feel like you're pretty much racing. And the last one would be that you can run fast, but you can't run fast for long. Now, if any of that's you, the fix is not more intervals, it's not more speed work, it's not doing more 400 meters. It's one weekly threshold session per week done properly. So what are we talking? We're talking 20 to 25 minutes at threshold. You could even stretch it out to 2 by 10 minutes at threshold, or worst case scenario, 3 by 8 minutes at threshold. Now, in my opinion, this is the most powerful training a runner at that kind of sub 20-ish level can do to get quicker, faster. That threshold, it literally raises your ceiling, but the only way you can push it is from below. You can't drag your lactate threshold higher by constantly training above it and doing some really, really hard sessions. Think of threshold like a weight you're trying to lift. If you stand on top of the bar, you're never going to get it off the ground. But if you get underneath it and you can push it, it's going to rise. But when you run above your threshold, you're not lifting your ceiling, you're literally smashing your head into it. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll be working hard, you'll be working really hard, but you're not improving the actual system that lets you run faster for longer. So once you start smashing those threshold type sessions, everything else will get easier. Suddenly 4-minute kilometer pace, so 6:26 a mile, that pace will stop feeling like a sprint and feel a lot easier. Mistake number 2 is that you don't train at true 5k pace. So this one is so simple. If you want to run sub 20, you need to spend time running slightly faster than race pace. So we're talking about 3:55 a kilometer, 6:15-ish a mile. Not fast-ish, not hard, not kind of fast, actual faster than 5k pace. Most people avoid it because it's uncomfortable and it means you have to really push yourself in training, but your body adapts to what you repeatedly expose it to. So if you never hit that intensity in training, how are you going to expect to hit it in a race? So you've got some pretty easy fixes. Run one of these sessions a week, not all of them. So we're looking at something like 5 by 1 kilometer at 3:55 kilometer pace, 6:15 a mile, with about a 90-second rest. So all of these paces, they're going to be slightly faster than your race pace. Another one would be something like 3 by a mile, again at 3:55 pace, so 6:15 a mile, with about a 2-minute rest because those reps are slightly longer. And then you could do perhaps something like 3 by 2 kilometers at 3:55 pace again, 6:15 a mile, with a 2 to 3 minute rest, depending on how you're recovering. You'll hate them, but they will make you faster, I guarantee it. So when you're doing these reps, you'll spend a little bit of your time under your threshold, but then you'll push straight through it. That's fine. This isn't threshold training. You're building your VO2 max. You're also getting your running economy in check so that race pace feels more familiar. Your muscles are adjusted to make the speed on come race day feel a lot easier. Just a quick one, guys, to make sure that you like and subscribe. I'm also going to put a link in the description below for my own AI tool, which I've built, which should help you be able to calculate based off of other races that you've done, how close you are to being able to run sub 20. Now, mistake number 3 is that you spend too much time in no man's land. Now, this is literally wasting your time. The gray zone, which other people refer it to, that's the pace where you're too slow to build speed, but too fast to build your aerobic engine. So while it might feel productive and your watch is giving you some pretty decent stats and it looks pretty good on Strava, it's actually not going to help you move that needle at all. If all your easy runs drift up to, say, 5-minute kilometers, 4:45s, even 4:30s, you're in the gray zone and you're not training properly. Here's what you should be doing. So if you think about it, to run fast, you need to make sure that you're fully recovered because you just can't keep running that effort all the time. So you need to recover as fast as possible. And you recover fast when you slow right down. Now, the easiest fix that I can recommend is to run 80% of your weekly volume. Genuinely super easy, almost too easy, you won't believe it. We're talking 5-minute 30 kilometers, even 6-minute kilometers, or even slower if you need to. That easy running, that builds the foundation that lets that faster work build on top. So we're talking low heart rate stuff, bottom of zone 2 type stuff, really. You'll be able to do nasal breathing, hold a conversation, literally no strain at all. And they say that you need to slow down to speed up. Well, look, it's a cliche for a reason. Mistake number 4 is that you do no speed endurance work. Now, speed endurance, that's the ability to hold pace when your legs want to quit. Most runners, they'll fade at that 3-kilometer mark in a 5K. And it's exactly where that sub 20 fight really starts to kick in. And if your legs tie up or your breathing collapses after about halfway, it's not because you're unfit, it's because you haven't trained that ability to buffer lactate and stay relaxed at higher effort. Now, there's a good fix for it. And this is literally was me all over until I started doing one of these types of sessions once a week or every 2 weeks, depending on how I was feeling and recovering. I'd do something like 8 by 400 meters at 3K pace, so faster than 5K, with between a 60 to 45 second rest. Then other weeks I'd do something like a 6 by 600 at 345 to 350 kilometer pace with about a 90 to 75 second rest, again, depending on how I was feeling. And then another real good session is 12 by 300 meters at as fast as you can go pace, pretty much, with about 45 to 30 second recovery. Now, this is where you're going to get that grit from to get you over the line. Spending time in the hurt locker, as I call it, it's so important for you to actually then be able to understand what you're capable of and mentally capable of so that you can push harder in those races and also in your training as well. Mistake number 5 is weak strength and mobility work. So look, if your hips are tight, your stride's going to shorten. If your glutes are weak, your form collapses. If your calves are weak, you push off, that's going to die a slow death. So you need strength to perform. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. Now look, you don't need to go in the gym 6 days a week for it. You need at least 1, ideally 2 20 to 30 minute sessions. The first session could be something like doing calf raises, split squats, deadlifts, doing some hip mobility work and some core planks. Another session would be something like hamstring eccentrics, single leg RDLs, step ups, and then glute bridges. Now, the aim of them is that you want to be able to get your frame as strong as possible, ideally by doing heavy weights with low reps. Every stride that becomes more economical, propelling you forward with more momentum, you can stay more powerful later on in the race. And if all else fails and for whatever reason you just can't get to a gym or you haven't got any equipment at home, your absolute bottom line is that you need to do some hill training because that will help as well. Now, mistake number 6 is running without a race strategy. And you will be so surprised at the number of people that just turn up to a park run, try and smash out a 5K and haven't thought it through. Look, a 5K is short enough to go wrong pretty fast and it's long enough to be painful when it does, trust me. So the biggest mistake that most runners make is that they go out too hard. And I'd say that's for probably about 80-85% runners. If you hit that first kilometer and you're thinking 340, you're a hero. Congratulations, you've just ruined your race. Your fix is that you need to start the first 500 meters or so at around 358 to 402. You need to stay steady. Settle in about 358 and then build from 3.5 kilometers onwards. So think of the race in 2 parts. The first kilometer, you need to stay super controlled. Your third kilometer, you need to really find that rhythm. And then the last kilometer, you just got to fight to the death. Now, most people, they'll flip that order around and they'll blow up. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more talent. You don't need better weather or better shoes or better luck. You just need to stop making those mistakes that will eventually slow you down. So get your threshold up, run real 5K pace, slow down on those easy days, like super slow, build some speed endurance, get stronger and race smarter. Do that alongside watching this next video, and 1959 is absolutely yours. The video will give you a more in-depth breakdown of the shape that you need to be in and a program outline that you need in order to be able to go sub 20. Ta-ra.